looking closely at the evolution of Buddhist philosophy, well, since the time of Buddha, we will see that one may categorize the evolution into three different parts. Most Western philosophers, they tend to think that Buddhism as a single unique system. But probably there has never been a religion like Buddhism that has turned itself more on its head in the process of its development. Buddhism is thus not one philosophy but a network of philosophies that find between them almost all the basic philosophical orientations which are repeated in Buddhism. The first phase was the period since the time of Buddha, 563 BC to 483 BC, up to the 2nd century AD. During this phase, if you closely examine these years, you will see that the apprehension of the absolute rests upon conceptualizing the real as a mode rather than a substance. In this mode, the absolute resembles that of, Heraclitus or even David Hume. The falsehood that humans impose upon the real is the feigned unity and continuity that our consciousness imposes upon the real, which is really a radical plurality. In the second phase of Buddhist philosophy, which I say is the period between, say, 2nd and the 7th century AD, we find that the ontology of Buddhism undergoes a change from the radical plurality of Buddhism's first phase to a rather radical monism, I should say. Rather than the Buddha's original goal of personal enlightenment, the goal of the second phase Buddhism becomes the universal salvation of man, animals, and all other sentient beings. The third phase, I find this third phase very interesting, as it is the period between the 7th and the 11th century AD, where defending the strong philosophical onslaught and arguments from Advaita protagonists like Shankaracharya, we find Buddhism postulating subjectivity or consciousness to be the primary component of the real. Look, here the concept of Buddhism has differed and changed its path so drastically. On this context of this third phase, Nagarjuna's idea of Shunyam, or emptiness, as Michael has said, has to be examined. Though this great polymath, I should say, Nagarjuna, lived between 150 and 250 AD. Nagarjuna's ideas, especially those corresponding to the concept of Shunyam, are very, very intriguing in nature, isn't it? You all will agree with me, I know. To Nagarjuna, everything is empty. Even the Buddha, or his four truths, or the Nirvana, they all are literally Shunyam, or empty, or without any essence in the long run. Nagarjuna used to say, what is that saying? He used to say, Shunyata Sharva Drishtina. He used to say, Shunyata Sharva Drishtina is what Nagarjuna used to say. That is, all the philosophies are empty. Their goal was Shunyata Sharva Dharmana. Then one may ask, what about Nagarjuna's own philosophy of Shunyam? When every philosophy lacks essence, then how Nagarjuna looks at his own philosophy? here we find the text Vigraha Vyavartini or something like that. Yes, it is Vigraha Vyavartini, where Nagarjuna gives an interesting answer. He says that actually I have no view of my own. I am just challenging your philosophy and decimating it. In the morning, I have discussed those three concepts of debates in those days, Jalpa, Pitanda, and all those. The ultimate truth, according to Nagarjuna, is self-evident, but beyond the grasping ability of human awareness. Now, what about the concept of experience? Here, Nagarjuna introduces the two different distinctive levels of truths. One he says Shamritti Shattam and the other Paramarthik Shattam. But where Nagarjuna differs philosophically from Shankaracharya is when he says Sambritti Manasatta Paramartha Nadigambate, which means without the help of the relative truth, one can't attain the absolute truth. This is where, in relation to our experience within the realm of mind, the concept of Alata Chakra has popped up. Here I just have to mention the name of Buddha Palit also, a brilliant disciple of Nagarjuna who wrote a commentary on Nagarjuna's Mool Madhyama Karika, which was also later critically attacked by another master, Bhava Viveka. I love these two people very much, the Buddha Palit and both the Buddha Palit and the Bhava Viveka. Now, whatever he says, whatever we experience in the mind, in the awakened state or in the dream state, are flashes of our consciousness, which are separate from one another, but as the experience is so fast-paced, it appears to be one unfragmented, total, whole experience. Now, if you take a fire flame at night and move it first in a circular motion, then from a distance it will appear to be a circle, which it is actually not. It is a single point fire flame. This is what the concept of Alata Chakra is. Alata means the fire, so it is called Alata Chakra. Here in the case of Alata Chakra, as the individual experiences are mutually exclusive to one another, the ultimate reality of our self have no essence according to Nagarjuna, and has an altogether different essence from the one which we are currently experiencing according to Shankaracharya. This is where my dear Thakur enters brilliantly with an absolutely fresh and new idea. Here on this concept of, say, Alata Chakra, what's the idea of my Thakur? How does my Thakur views this concept of Alata Chakra? He declares that every bit of consciousness that is experiencing whatever it is experiencing, either in the awakened state or in the dream state, can be attached strongly to one another with an adhesive and can be given a shape which is total and whole, and in this fashion we will have a continuation of the same self which we are experiencing now. That's just brilliant. This is what Mukti or Moksha or Nirvana is to my Thakur. And the adhesive which he wants to discuss here is what I call love for my Thakur, and also chanting Ram Naran Ram and etc., which he has given. Nagarjuna talks about Alat Shanti of the Alat Chakra in the ultimate state, or putting the flame into water and extinguishing the existence, where Thakur speaks about the eternal existence of the flame or the Atta. Buddha said, Nibbanam Paramangshakam. Now, how do you, if you don't want to exist, if you are not going to exist, then how do you know whether Nibbanam can bring that ultimate peace to you, Only he who knows the concept has the power to salvage souls in distress. My Thakur knows the concept. My Thakur knows what Atma is all about, and that's why he is infinitely more special than all the spiritual grades put together since, say, the beginning of civilization. So, well, now this is what Alat Chakra and Alata Shanti was